Hello there, my friends. It's Carrie at holisticspsychic.com in Sedona, Arizona, coming on with a little soul growth check-in as we take a look at the astrological energies shaping up around the coming full moon happening in the sign of Gemini. I'm going to talk about the bigger picture energetic themes that are going on first, and then we're going to get into the details. Of course, taking a look at how we can utilize the energies of the astrological transits to support our journeys in spiritual growth, personal development, healing, and empowerment. So let's go ahead and dive in here. Okay, first, as far as the big picture overarching themes go, we've got some significant transits happening with Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transmutation, transformation. It is the archetype of the alchemist. So we're all collectively having opportunities for deep, significant transmutation, transformation happening in our lives, again, personally and collectively. And with the transits that are happening with Saturn, I'm going to venture to say that we are all experiencing deep karmic resets that are enabling us to establish new foundations for manifesting higher timelines that'll be coming in the coming year. Right now, this full moon is the time of establishing those themes, which I'll explain more in a little bit. But another thing I want to remind us of here, that each full moon brings illumination of awareness. The moon represents our intuitive nature, our deep inner self, our soul self. And so the illumination that the full moon brings is more on the intuitive intelligence level. However, each full moon is opposite of the sun, and the sun is our ego identity. So this means that the illumination of our intuitive awareness that happens with each full moon has the capacity to be discerned by our conscious ego mind represented by the sun. Now, this full moon is happening in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And so Mercury is the ruler of this full moon. I'm mentioning this because both the moon and Mercury right now are what's called being out of bounds. That means that they are outside of the normal northern or southern reaches of their typical orbit around the sun. When a luminary or a planet is out of bounds, it heightens the energy of the planet or luminary, bringing in themes of independence, themes of intensities, or eccentricities. And so this full moon, we are going to feel in a little bit of an exaggerated way. In fact, one of the essences or energies that this full moon is bringing in is a deep desire to express our uniqueness and individuality. And being that the moon is in Gemini, which is the sign that is connected to ideas, concepts, communication, learning, studying, intelligence, all of that, we're all going to feel compelled to want to be heard in some way or another. Now, being that the moon is ruled by Mercury, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Mercury right now. Mercury during the full moon is making a sextile, a positive opportunistic aspect with Venus. Venus has some things going on, which I'm going to loop back around to in a moment. But Mercury is also making a square aspect to Neptune. The square aspect between Mercury and Neptune brings in themes around mind versus soul. Neptune relates to our soul, our spiritual self, while Mercury relates to the mind. So there's something showing up for each of us that needs to be rectified, come to terms with, in areas where our mind and our soul are right now in conflict with each other. And what we can look at for that is the sextile aspect between Mercury and Venus. Now, Venus is just coming out of an opposition that we had over the past few days. I think it was exact on the 22nd of November, an opposition with Chiron in Aries. And Venus is in Libra right now. Venus in Libra is themes around harmony, balance, and relationship, while Chiron in Aries is themes around healing wounds around our individuality. With Mercury making that sextile aspect to Venus, just coming out of that opposition between Venus and Chiron is definitely themes of we versus me, relationship versus what I need for me. Venus making the sextile aspect to Mercury is, I feel, bringing an opportunity, because sextile aspects are opportunistic, opportunity to really be truthful with ourselves about what we really need regarding relationship themes, and it could be even relationship with ourselves. Now, mind you, these relationship themes don't necessarily have to be romantic relationship. It's going to depend on where Venus is in your chart. It could be your relationship with work, your relationship with siblings, your relationship with your home, family, relationship with your long-term goals. If you have your chart, you can look to see where all of these aspects that I'm going to be talking about today are showing up in your natal chart and how that's being triggered. And that will give you personally more of an inside look at how you can most directly, most consciously work with these energies. The moon is opposite the sun, which happens every full moon. The moon is in Gemini, the sun is in Sagittarius. We are officially in Sagittarius season. But because of the Pluto and Saturn things going on, it's still going to feel very much like Scorpio season until we have the next new moon, which is December 12th, which will be in Sagittarius. That's where the Sagittarian season energy is going to kick in a lot more, which is going to be more festive, wanting to be more out and about. Until then, it's transformation time, it's karmic reset time. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about how this is all showing up with Pluto and Saturn. Pluto is making a trine aspect, so a helpful, beneficial aspect to the moon and Uranus. Pluto is in Capricorn in the very late degrees. It's like 28 degrees and some minutes. So this is considered in the critical realm of degrees where there's like a pressure to transform building up. And we can all see how this is definitely playing out collectively right now. And then we have our individual experience of this as well. Trining the moon and trining Uranus, which is in Taurus right now. Uranus is like the higher octave of Mercury. We've already talked about what's going on with Mercury, but Mercury is the mind, and Uranus is higher mind, cosmic awareness. The moon is, again, our intuitive self, our deep soul nature. In Gemini, can bring a more of a pragmatic approach to our intuitive awarenesses. And with the trine between Uranus and Pluto, first, these are outer planets, and so they have collective and generational themes. Again, we can see for sure how that's playing out, but on personal level, this could be a revelation coming in that enables you to finally take a step that you've needed to take in some way in your life, taking a step into the transformative energies rather than being on the fence in however this is showing up in your life. Pluto is also making a sextile aspect to both Neptune and Mars. And Mars is also opposite of the moon right now. And Mars is in Sagittarius. Mars in Sagittarius is definitely like an ambitious go-getter type of energy, raring to go. Making a sextile to Pluto tells us that we want to apply that energy to the area of our life where the opportunity for transformation is showing up. So you want to look at your chart if you have it. If you need help with that, you can always reach out to me for an astrological consultation along those lines. The sextile with Neptune, again, Neptune being the soul aspect of us, the spiritual, the creative aspect of us, can hint towards utilizing creative expression as a catalyst for transformation. Creative expression can be music, dance, painting, drawing, writing, singing, whatever. Probably a lot of other things I'm not thinking of right now. And fueling that ambitiousness that's coming from Mars in Sagittarius in that direction. So you're utilizing the energy in alignment with what the aspects are and not fighting to go against the grain of that. Pluto is also squaring Jupiter, and Jupiter also is in Taurus right now. Taurus is earth energy. It can be manifestation energy. In astrology, it relates to how we make money. It also is our creature comforts, the lavishness of environment that we prefer to surround ourselves with. It's our comforts in life. All things connected to harmony, beauty. So Pluto squaring Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, and good fortune. Jupiter in Taurus, in and of itself, is definitely a prosperous placement. With Pluto there squaring that, it wants us to take a look at where we can bring transformation to however the Taurus themes are showing up in your personal chart. Neptune is also making a trine aspect to Mars. Mars wants to just, bolt out the gate and be off to the race. But with the trine to Neptune, the best path of least effort way to channel that energy is going to be in regard to our soul growth because of the trine to Neptune. And Neptune is in Pisces right now, along with Saturn. So Saturn is a big player in this full moon because Saturn is making a square to the moon, Mars, and the sun. And that's making what's called a T square. Saturn just went direct on November 4th after spending pretty much the entire summer in retrograde. And Saturn retrograded back almost to the 0 degree mark. It was like 0 degrees and 30 minutes, which is why I'm saying this is a karmic reset, because Saturn retrograded back nearly almost to the exact 0 degree mark. And the 0 degree is linked to the pure essence of this planet. Saturn is linked to karma. On personal levels, it's around our personal sense of self-responsibility. In Pisces, it's self-responsibility towards our inner soul nature and development, because that's what Pisces relates to, as does Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So this entire time that Saturn has been in Pisces, to me, it feels like we're all doing a little check-in with ourselves around where we're at with our personal growth, what we want for ourselves in regard to our personal growth, responsibility for our own development of awareness. And with Saturn making these squares to both the sun and the moon and Mars, which can be seen as our inner masculine, our inner feminine. Mars is the inner masculine warrior energy. The sun is our ego identity, which can also be seen as more of the masculine part of ourselves. And the moon is the lunar feminine aspect. Saturn making these squares here, we got to do a little check-in and rectify an energy. And so when the sun is in Sagittarius, as it is right now, we just want to party, we want to adventure, we want to have fun, we want to explore. But Saturn in Pisces is like, let's do some more transformation work first. I feel like it's wise to listen to that. We will have an opportunity to have the party, adventure, social atmosphere that Sagittarius loves just before the holidays, when we have that new moon in Sagittarius on December 12th. But the other thing I want to tie in with this metamorphosis, this transformative energy, the karmic reset, right now, between now and December 21st, each day, the sun is setting earlier, making more dark, more dark, more dark. The dark time of year is when we naturally go within and hibernate. Especially between now and the new moon, because the new moon is going to bring in more exuberant energies. but I invite us all to channel what could feel like a little bit of an angsty energy to want to just get on with lighter times. Those times will come. But for now, doing your own personal transformation work, and this is a really good time to put some energies, healing energy into the collective right now. Remember that every effort we make to heal, transform, and empower ourselves, every achievement we make along those lines for ourselves has a ripple effect that supports the collective. You're putting that positive energy out there to the collective in ways that supports everyone else who's also working on those similar themes. So we've got this little corridor of time, at least for the next few weeks, that literally is the very best time of year to do healing transformation work, even though we're technically in Sagittarius season. As I said, the Pluto energies that are coming in are still like a carryover from Scorpio season that is still enabling us to make some headway with our own growth and healing, which enables us ultimately to be liberated into those lighter, more expansive energies that do come with Sagittarius season, which we will be feeling more of when we have that new moon in December. Elementally speaking, the predominant element around this full moon is fire, although the moon is in Gemini, which is an air sign. So we're having like a blending of fire and air, which can bring in a volatile nature, especially with the opposition between Mars, which is the warrior, and the moon in Gemini. There could be volatile outbursts that happen through communication misunderstandings. There could be less of an ability to regulate triggers. So just be aware of that volatile nature. I believe that being forewarned is being forearmed. When we know what the energy is, we can work with it more deliberately. Now, fire is also transformative, transmuting. It burns away the old. It illuminates awareness. Fire is heat, which transforms, alchemizes, and fire is light, which is why it is connected to illumination as well. We have to remember that each planet, each sign, each element has its challenge aspects and its helpful, beneficial aspects. And a part of the path of awareness, developing awareness, is connected to being able to realize these things, know these things, and choose consciously rather than unconsciously reacting, which is why I love sharing information like this. Ultimately, my goal is to help us all on that path of achieving expanded awareness. So, with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. You will see me again soon. I'm going to be coming on this coming year with more regular updates around the monthly transits and things of that nature. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you gain something out of this video, please take a moment to like, subscribe if you haven't yet. It really helps out the channel and helps spread the word about my offerings here. Love you all. Blessings and